Anyway, let's get into the cartoon we were going to talk about.
Woo!
Right, okay.
Bewarb the Batman, as I keep insisting on calling it. Bewarb the Batman. Created by Glenn Murakami, the Teen Titans guy, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Developed.
Glenn Murakami, Sam Register, Mitch Watson, and Butch Lukic. But mostly, Glenn Murakami always got the top billing for it, and he is the dude who did the Teen Titans show that we're all most familiar with, which is the original one in the 2000 whatever.
This show ran for 26 episodes for a little over a year, July 2013 to September 2014. I remember watching a bit of it with Nina right after it started on demand, and we dug it all right, and then we fell off, and then it got canceled. So
same with me, basically. And in my usual way, if something gets canceled before I caught up with it, I never ever watch it again until this podcast makes me.
Yeah. Yeah. The show is Batman in CGI, which I believe was the first one. Everything else is 2D, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Yeah, because the Batman and Brave and the Bold, obviously they were done digitally.
And even all those DC direct-to-DVD animated films.
Yeah, this is 2D. The only CG.
And that's where part of the first piece of criticism comes from, is that at first glance it's not a very good-looking show. The models are very chunky and kind of Nick Jr. looking, and the textures are pretty basic. But it's very fluidly animated. There's a great sense of choreography and continuity in the fights.
And the effects animation
is like
too good?
Cinema level. It's bananas how good it is.
Yeah, that's basically that really is where their strong suit was, in like the basic choreography and a lot of the effects and stuff. But I don't know.
Fire? Fire looked awesome. Smoke? I just wanted to watch stuff blow up so I could see the smoke.
This is the show for you.
So this version of Batman is taking a perspective of it like through the younger years of Batman. So it's a young Batman who's just kind of started his thing.
Everybody's treating him more like Spider-Man.
Yeah. He's still something of a legend at first. It's almost like a show adaptation of Batman Arkham Origins, the game that they insist doesn't exist. In that, it's a younger, less experienced Batman, and G-list villains.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've got some real deep cut ham and eggers in this one. And then the occasional, I would say A-lister. We get Ra's al Ghul. We get
Killer Croc,
and
Two-Face.
Eventually,
we get Harvey Dent.
We never get it.
We get Harvey Dent.
We get Harvey Dent, but he never fully. We never get that reveal.
You just hate to see a show that is just convinced it's getting a second season. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
And there's also Man-Bat, who's really only as high tier as he is because he happened to be in the first episode of the animated series.
I mostly like Man-Bat because that is a character invented solely on the name, and they worked up from there. They just flipped Batman.
And they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, they made a really interesting character out of a stupid premise of, hey, what if we switched the words?
Hey, what if Stan Lee created the idea of Batman?
Yeah, and there was sort
the
of...
unflappable Man-Bat from beyond the moon.
Well, by beyond the moon, I mean Lower Manhattan.
Yeah.
And this Batman sort of forms a team that doesn't comprise of any Robins. It's actually the Outsiders.
Nary a Robin to be seen.
Yeah, it's just Batman and the Outsiders is essentially, I think, what they wanted it to be. And definitely was what it was by the end. But even, his partner is Zatanna. His partner is Katana.
Who serves a Robin-like role. And the tweak in dynamic is interesting. We're going to get into that.
She was the best thing in this show, and she was the only thing I gave a crap about ever.
Yeah.
You didn't give a crap about Alfred?
I mean, he...
Well, we've never seen an Alfred like this. This is an Alfred who is much younger, I would say late 50s, early 60s, and he's a Guy Ritchie character.
I guess.
Well, he was
yeah,
based
no.
off of a retired James Bond kind of character. He's an ex-spy. He's got the biggest fucking chin.
He's got a bigger chin than Batman, which also describes a lot of characters in this show.
Yeah.
I found he's a lot tougher. He actually throws a punch. He can throw a punch. He's out in the field occasionally. He has much more of an active role as opposed to the passive role of, say, you're basically any other Alfred. He doesn't spend as much time breaking Batman's balls, which I miss. He does it a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, Task Pennyworth was just breaking his balls nonstop.
That was one of the things that, like, kept me from being endeared to, like, most of the characters was just, you know, like 90% of the dialogue was really a combination of necessary story explication and really cliche quips that's like a 12-year-old could have wrote from watching TV too much.
Well, one thing that I found interesting about this show is that the show is written in a way to suggest that everyone working on it was very aware that Batman is an asshole.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Batman is an asshole in this show, and the show knows it. Because, like, all the other characters are like, well, he's a goddamn asshole, but he gets the job done, so I guess I'm going to stick around with this prick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because whereas other Batman shows have... Well, I haven't watched too many other Batman shows, but classic animated series Batman, both... Tass and then like Bruce when he was an old guy and
DCAU.
In the DCAU, he was a little bit more balanced. Like being an asshole is always part of Batman's personality, but he always had like some other more redeeming qualities to him sometimes, and I think that's what Robin really brings out of his character. And not having a Robin or anything.
I mean, Katana.
He was just.
Katana did fill that role. I mean, like, they said in early interviews the show even dropped, like, they couldn't even sidestep around it. They were like, I mean, yeah, Katana's basically Robin. She's not, though, but yeah, she is.
She basically is, but there still seems to be, like, a very distinct barrier because she's not a kid.
She's not, Batman's not her dad. It's a big difference.
Like, Batman...
You're not my dad.
Batman feels more compelled to be human when he's around children than when he's around other adults.
If you may remember from
himself.
Justice League, or maybe Unlimited, to me they're the same show. I have trouble distinguishing specific episodes.
Doesn't matter.
The best goddamn Batman moment ever was in the episode with the Royal Flush Gang.
Yeah.
Where Ace, the little girl voiced by him, like the Royal Flush Gang was voiced by the cast from Teen Titans as like a weird goof that was great. It's just weird because two of them, because Menville and Sipes were playing huge guys and they can't.
Yeah.
Like Walsh played this little girl who was sick and like about to die, and Batman was just stayed with her as she died, and it was the most human Batman has ever been in anything, and it was a really powerful episode and a really good show. And then in that like Batman Beyond epilogue they did, Amanda Waller was like, that flipped me on that fucking guy.
Yeah, and that's always been sort of the dynamic of Batman, right? Like in the show they kept, like, you know, there's a point where Alfred is defending Batman against the super spoiler bad guy. And it's like, Batman has something you don't. Compassion. And I'm like, nah.
Is that a line?
No, he doesn't.
That reminds me of that line from Digimon with like when Puppetmon died. What did they have that I didn't? Friends.
So, what happened to the show, production-wise?
Lay it on me.
There's some, pretty interesting things that went on. Obviously, the design was based a lot off of the Green Lantern aesthetic. And they really did take the 3D stuff to heart. Like, apparently a lot of times, before they animated objects, they would actually physically build some sets or some particular objects. Like, Batman's utility belt was fully recreated out of cardboard to sort of test how it would function as, like, an actual thing. To see that would, like, yeah, if you really built it, it would work. And they did. They did it, and it worked. So that's helped them sort of visualize this thing, which does sort of lead into what we said before, where, like, there was a lot more attention to detail to, like, the nitty-gritty of just the, like, production of certain things. like special effects and the way objects looked and lighting and such and foremost. The show was kind of in a bad spot from the beginning. The first promotional image that was leaked, that was given out, was not very well received because it featured Alfred with 2 guns.
Yup, I remember that.
And a lot of people were like, what? Because, we know guns and Batman do not go together at all. And between...
Oh, no, I literally had nothing of input to say. I was just going to be like, I'm pretty sure you might be about to correct me or corroborate me, but I'm pretty sure their excuse was like, yeah, but it's okay if Alfred does it.
You fuckers like Dark Knight Returns so much, and he had like a harpoon gun in that.
He did. And then, they were originally going to use realistic-looking guns in the show, because if you notice in the show, they're constantly talking about guns, and there's guns everywhere, but they all look like...
They're lasers.
They're laser Nerf gun
This
things.
is some 90s Saturday morning cartoon shit going on.
Yeah, there are a couple of Splatoon guns that look like those. The blasters, if you're familiar with Splatoon.
They got frickin' Nintendo zappers up there robbing a bank.
They do, like yeah, I mean they're like real. They're treated like real ass guns, but they're toys. They're like Halo, like sub Halo looking guns.
Oh, here comes the heavy artillery. Super scope.
So the reason for that primarily is that executive producers, in the wake of the 2012 Aurora shootings,
yeah,
which if you don't recall was when
because there's so many of them.
Was when a crazy guy went in during a screening of The Dark Knight Rises and shot up a bunch of people enjoying the film. We're like, maybe we shouldn't put Batman and guns together a year after this happened, especially since this Batman was supposed to take a lot of influences from the Christopher Nolan series. In a lot of ways it does.
I mean, I think a lot of it was also, like, they were also basing a lot of it off of the new direction, like, they took a lot of hints from, like, New 52 stuff that was coming out then. Like, that, like the hard-ass Alfred was from a specific continuity that the comic was coming out with, and then, like, some of the newer villains, like, Professor Pig was from, like, a newer, more recent
Professor
Batman.
Pig, yeah, like, Professor Pig, I'm looking up how...
He was from Batman and he was from Batman and Robin, like, after, when Dick Grayson took over.
None of the villains are original villains. All of them came from a comic somewhere, but they all were obviously very heavily retooled to be appropriate for television.
Pig,
Mr. Pig,
I think, was
particular,
completely different.
Yeah, he's just a fucking psychopath.
He was like a psycho doctor who would do psycho surgery on people. Key, Humpty Dumpty, even Anarchy was like a old school Batman villain that had a very different look to him.
He looked like a ripoff of V for Vendetta, because he was.
Yeah.
He's not that old school. He was 89.
Yeah. Tobias Whale was a super old school Batman villain from, like... Not Batman, it was just a DC villain.
Yeah. 77, yeah.
Yeah, he first appeared in a Black Lightning comic.
I don't know who that even is.
He was an outsider.
Oh.
Anyway, so we got a lot of guys that you're not normally used to seeing.
But a lot of them fill the roles that more popular villains usually occupy. So that was another strike I had against it, was like every time one of them showed up, I just would be reminded of like better fleshed out villains doing this exact same shit in other Batman shows. And so it didn't, they didn't do a good job differentiating them enough.
No, they didn't really stand too much on their own apart from the regular... Like
Magpie shows up. It's like, where's Catwoman? Like the guy you just mentioned shows up. Where's, I don't know, one of the Falcons? Frickin' the Metamorpho episode could have been rewritten as a Clayface.
Yeah, at first we were like, wait, is this Clayface?
Well, the Metamorpho, that was the plot for Metamorpho, and they did. Yeah. I believe they did a Metamorpho episode for one of the Justice League shows.
Yeah, he was in there, and I've never liked him, but solely because nobody wants to get rid of his ugly, gross, terrible design that doesn't work in any context.
Oh man, this garbage ass face he's making on his wiki page.
Yeah.
Yeah, Metamorpho, as you may be able to guess by his name, is old as hell, 65.
Yeah, he's also one of the original Outsiders, which is probably why they wanted to get him in there.
Or you like the mayor. Like, we saw the mayor's like, is that Amanda Waller?
No. It was Amanda Waller. She had a different name and was the mayor of Gotham.
But like, but I mean, like same kind of voice as Amanda Waller, same kind of design, a lot of the same attitude.
Yeah, I thought it was Amanda Waller.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at that character and like next to Commissioner Gordon, you're like, oh yeah, that's Amanda Waller, right?
And like,
it's not.
At that point in the show, that late in the game, I had kind of checked out, so I didn't fully. I never registered that it wasn't. I'm learning that now.
Oh, wowie.
So, here's what happened to the show. It was on Cartoon Network proper at first. After 11 episodes, it was pulled from the schedule without any notice or announcement from Cartoon Network. The show's cast and crew were assured that the show had simply been delayed until January 2014, and then it got delayed again once January rolled around, and it was not mentioned by Cartoon Network for the 2014 slate at all. However, of all places, it was still airing in New Zealand. Meanwhile, so if you lived in New Zealand, you didn't deal with any of this.
You lucky fucking Kiwi.
So by May, Toonami decided, out of the kindness of their hearts, because if you remember, Toonami, as far as I know, as this point, this new version of Toonami is completely volunteer-based.
Yep.
So out of the kindness in their heart, wanting to have a show like that on their show, they, began running episodes starting in May, with the production crew intent on airing all 26 episodes that were created, produced, finalized, whatever. But then in September, and I remember this on Tumblr, the Toonami Tumblr was like having to deal with all these questions. In September, Cartoon Network basically called up Toonami and was like, we will not allow you to air that show ever again.
Oh.
So Toonami was like, okay, we want to give the show its due as best we can. So they marathoned the final 7 episodes on September 28th. So they basically filled up their entire block just airing the show because they wanted to give the show airtime, and that was the cutoff date before the order went into effect. So if you remember that, they just dropped all those episodes like, okay, you can finish watching the show if you care, because after this, we're never allowed to air it on this network ever again, apparently.
Dang.
Apparently,
Which is why you can't find the show on AdultSwim.com.
Exactly.
Which I thought this one was going to be easier to watch.
Nope. Apparently, Cartoon Network just saw it as a financial failure, just wanted to end this series for good, and just kind of wrote the show off completely from the network because of that. So that's why it's the shortest run Batman series ever.
Anytime a show only gets one, and only gets like that one kind of story arc and it leaves it open for more, I always do wonder just at least one more. I'm not the big, this is my least favorite Batman animated series, but it's still Batman and it's still got stuff going for it. So I really would want to know if they would actually come into their stride with a second season, because sometimes that is all it takes.
Yeah, sometimes it is like
a lot of shows really hit the ground running season 2.
Yeah.
And once they finally stopped having Batman be a diva, they could just go on some fun adventures.
Because that's the thing with his Batman, is that he's so prideful. That's his primary flaw, is that he just won't admit that he's wrong, and then by luck he kind of never is.
His primary flaw is that he refers to one alter ego as a different person when he's the other one. Homie, which one are you? Are you neither? Can we explore that? That's always an interesting facet of Batman's personality to me, but I feel like that all this show did was dangle it in my face and then never fully address it how I want them to.
Yeah, because what I always thought that was that, Batman is Batman, right?
Yeah.
That, if he had to say what his name was, that's who he is.
He does it all the time.
He says it constantly.
And then Bruce Wayne was the mask.
And Bruce Wayne was just, the name he was given by his parents, this character that he has to play to further his ends as Batman. In Batman Beyond, there was an episode where, old Bruce got some kind of chip in his head and he was hearing voices. And people were like, oh, he's gone crazy. And he's like, no, I didn't. And at the end, what's his name?
Terry.
Terry was like, how did you know you weren't crazy? How did you know there was a thing? And he's like, he didn't call me by my name. There's only one. He called me Bruce. I don't call myself that in my head. You know, and it's like...
And Terry's like, bro...
No, Terry actually goes like Terry goes like, well, what do you call yourself? And Bruce just kind of looks at him like, come the fuck on. And Terry's like, oh, well, that's my name now, and just walks away smug.
And Bruce is like, I'm gonna fucking kill this kid.
And then fucking, and I'm like, that was great. I finished my cereal.
Yeah. So like that's how I always thought Batman viewed himself, or Bruce viewed himself. Like I never saw it portrayed as like this very distinct line of like, this is Bruce and this is Batman, to the point where he gets mad when other people kind of confuse that.
When people aren't on his same, aren't following his crazy sine wave.
Yeah.
I mean, Two-Face, when written really well, is a foil to Batman's own dual personality. That's why he's one of the best villains, is because he does reflect Batman himself.
Can I say one hammy line that I wish they would have kept in this show that loves saying really predictable cliche like dialogue liners? When like second to last episode, I think it was, when like, you know, Two-Face is first getting out of the hospital and Harvey's first getting out of the hospital and Anarchy's like chatting him up. And he's just
he's
like...
the worst offender for those cliched lines, my
Oh
god.
yeah. Worst fucking villain. I don't know what he was like before, but I hate him now. But Two-Face is just like, Harvey's just like, I'm gonna make Batman pay. And like, he doesn't say anything else. And I'm like, twofold. Do it. Do your job.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, in previous iterations of Batman, Alfred would put up with Bruce's shit to a certain point. He would let him do what he is doing, which is crazy, but he let him do it. But he didn't let him, like, fucking do a lot of the stuff that the Batman in this show does. Like, the Alfred in this show really isn't, like, I don't know, he's not doing his job as much.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a different interpretation of how to do his job. Like
exactly.
Alfred, like classic Alfred, his job would be to like talk him out of stuff. Like this Alfred doesn't even want to attempt to stop this unstoppable force. So he's like, well, if I can't stop him, I just kind of have to be there to make sure he doesn't fuck up too bad.
Yeah. Apparently, series developers originally intended to give Alfred a greater role in the series, but Murakami advised they scale back his activities over concern that he would outshine Batman.
That's very true. That would have happened.
Fundamentally more likable.
Yeah, because one thing I did notice was that whenever we were in a flashback or some moment where Alfred was on his own doing his thing, he was rad. But then as soon as he was back in Gotham working with the team, he couldn't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he kept getting... Like, for plot reasons,
He shot a bunch of ninjas with a rocket. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I sure hope Bruce doesn't find out about this. Because those guys are dead.
Or Batman. I don't know what mood he's in right now.
I don't know who's gonna be madder.
That's another thing. A lot of villains got, like, in a show that, like, I mean, obviously it's a cartoon and it's cartoony, but, like, also, it's all gritty and noir and shit. But then, like, someone will fall, like, 20 stories, or, like, a giant tombstone will fall on them. Yeah. Or, like, somebody will get hit by, like, a car, and it's like, they're fine. Yeah. Like, no.
Yeah, there was no consistency about the level of damage people
fall
could
damage.
take. Because, like, in the scene where Zatanna gets fucked up by...
and you fucked up again.
The scene where Katana... It's not my fault, DC. You did this to yourself.
This show could have really used some Zatanna, now that you mention it.
In the scene where Katana gets fucked up by Deathstroke, you know, a building's under construction, it explodes, she's crushed by some of the debris. Literally, like a couple minutes before, a similar accident happened with Batman and some random-ass dock worker, and the dock worker was perfectly fine, but when we find Katana, she's, like, all beaten up and bruised. Like, I literally had no idea how injured she was supposed to be until they showed her, and I was like, okay, I guess that means she's really fucked up, because I've seen her go through way worse and come out of it just fine.
The penultimate episode, one of the final shots is her falling out of a helicopter, And then her first appearance in the next episode is her just there like, what happened to Batman?
Yeah, like, it's not very consistent. But, like, what I was saying with Alfred, like, this Batman will, like, kind of yell at him. Old Batman, every other iteration of Batman that I've seen, Alfred wouldn't put up with that. He'd be like, you can't lecture me. You know, I fucking change your diapers and shit.
Alfred would, like, beat him up with a yardstick.
Yeah. Yeah, he was he was almost like post Jason all the time. And it was with no Jason, and I was like, why are you so angry? Oh boy.
And he gets he gets even worse when Alfred like leaves.
I know. Yeah. It's like, I miss my dad.
What do you guys think of this Gordon?
Well, he's Kurtwood Smith, so I love him.
Yeah, he was great. Great casting. A lot of the casting was very good in this show. There was nobody who I felt like blew the
I
roles.
didn't.
No way.
I didn't dislike.
I mean, like the guy who voiced Anarchy made me hate him, but like that's how he was written.
He's doing he did his best. Honestly, at some points, whenever he was at his hammiest, and just the way his face was shaped, I'm like, I feel like this guy's almost going for like a Nick Cage. Like I seen Face Off. Yeah. Honestly, if he would have went the full Face Off, it would have been a lot better. Yeah, because like they the Joker.
They specifically said they didn't want to do another Joker story, but he's Nolan Joker.
Yeah,
he's Nolan Joker.
He's bad Nolan Joker. He's freaking Nick
crappy
Jr. Nolan Joker.
Yeah. Because like the thing with Nolan Joker is that I think Nina pointed this out to me recently. It's like it's a much better performance than it is a character.
Oh, absolutely! It's 100% the performance. At no point, no one's compliments about the Joker role is to the character. It's all about like, oh man, his performance though. Like, no one.
Which is
and it's infectious, deserved. And you're like, this guy doesn't make any sense. But
someone give this guy a glass of water. He's so parched.
But I mean, you just can't not look at him when he's on the screen. Like he's that drawing to the eye. He's very
my father.
Yeah, so they were trying to do the same, like...
And most Jokers are supposed to do that. You know, even Nicholson did that, and...
Romero
did that, you know, like, you want to watch this character...
Yeah.
Do whatever they're doing.
Hamill did it in the booth.
Yeah, Hamill did it stupendously.
Yeah, but Anarchy was just like, get this guy, because he's trying to do like the same, like, I'm your order, and I'm chaos, and we're gonna see who wins, and it turns out I've been the mastermind the whole time. Yeah, and maybe I'm a dig against Moon Knight. I'm not sure.
Like, he's set up to be the overarching villain, like, the big bad villain, and it's like, no. Also,
I didn't like his design in this specifically because of the coloring. You can't, like... when you're using such already untextured, low textured models, he just looks not finished. He looks like an
unpainted. He looks like an unpainted Warhammer.
Yeah,
literally, it looks like they were modeling him and they were about to color him, and then someone went, "No, wait, that's fine. Let's go to lunch.
We'll do a chess thing."
Yeah. Oh, because Batman's black and he's white. All right, that's.
He literally pointed it out in his premiere episode, Tooch.
Man,
there was the same episode where, like...
That wasn't that far into the show where you checked out that early.
Bruce and Alfred were playing chess in that episode. It's like, why do we even bother playing if you always beat me? It's like...
Because you keep me sharp.
Yeah.
I love you, Dad.
I guess
I love you, Dad. That's why I'm talking down to you like you're a child.
I think in that case, the imagery was... beaten me so hard over the head that I just didn't even... It looped back around to me not even noticing. Like, it was so obvious I didn't even acknowledge that could have been something. Because it's like, that's so fucking obvious.
Yeah. Like, in the beginning of the show, I definitely was invested. Because it's Batman, and the fight scenes were fun, and...
It was going for it's doing its best to capture... the tone of Task without mimicking it outright.
And I'm not like one of those people like, I hate everything because it's different. Like, I was like, no, I'm going to give this shit a chance.
Yeah, you don't read comics.
Yeah, and I did, and I was like, well, there were some moments I liked, like, probably some of the best stuff they did with Batman itself. Like, the writer said that they wanted to provide a look and sort of like what the physical discipline that would require to actually be Batman. Hence all those jokes about like his liquid diet and the bovine hormones and all the crazy shit he did to try to not sleep. Like, I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
neat. That was a fun
That's some good world
touch.
building. What I would want to know is, like, what his shits look like.
Oh my god.
Because I'm going to imagine...
Looks like guano.
Sand. I was going to say sand. Something's getting fucked up. He's pulling everything out of it. When he sits down on the toilet and just hear...
He's like
No, he
Axe Cop, where he like totally utilizes all the nutrients in his food so he doesn't have to poop.
Everyone thinks he times himself going to the bathroom, but that's just because his poops sound like an hourglass.
Yeah.
That joke... There's no sound to it.
Alright.
Okay. I'm being a jerkwad for analyzing that, but anyway. Yeah. You know what was a villain interpretation I liked? Was Killer Croc.
Yeah, I like him.
I liked him too.
I liked a smart, kind of well-spoken Killer Croc, because, like, the Killer Crocs I'm familiar with. Task Killer Croc is just a lunkhead, who's a different guy.
Yeah.
And then...
I liked Lunkhead.
Lunkhead is nice. Lunkhead's trying his best.
Because Lunkhead is like the embodiment of like a lot of what Batman doesn't always like to acknowledge. Like his famous, like, you know, criminals are just... What's the fucking line?
Cowards and pussies or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like... sometimes they don't know what's up, you know?
Yeah.
And Lunkhead's like, I'm in here because I did a bad thing and I don't want to be bad no more.
Yeah.
Give me
But he
some
just really likes
chocolate.
candy.
Yeah. And then the other Killer Croc I know is the one from Arkham Asylum who sucks.
Yeah.
He's just like an asshole monster man.
Oh yeah, he's
and
literally
it's
just
the
a
worst.
monster.
And the boss fight is the worst part of that otherwise very good game.
Yeah, this Killer Croc was like Gambit. You know, got his like smooth talk from the bayou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked his gums. He was very gummy.
Maybe he's in jail for eating a Duck Dynasty. That'd be alright.
Yeah. He's voiced by a man named Wade Williams, and I saw that. I was like, Deadpool's Marvel.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, we can make enough Deadpool jokes once we get into fucking Deathstroke. Mr. Slade Wilson.
And the weaker side of me enjoyed Magpie's design.
Oh, you know, what was actually a very cool bit of casting is that, you know, Magpie Margaret Sorrow was voiced by Grey Delisle. The red herring, Dr. Bethany whoever who just died and everyody forgot about it. Ravencroft, suck my balls! Was voiced by Cree Summer. And they're both doing those voices that they have that sound very similar to each other.
Yeah, I
thought it was Grey Delisle.
That was a really good touch.
Because Magpie was unmistakably Grey Delisle, and I fell into the red herring, so I figured, yeah, that's Grey Delisle doing her, like, sultry, adult voice. And then, no, it was Cree Summer doing her sultry adult voice. It was a great fake out. And a fake out that I'm not sure would work in any other dub.
Nope.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, that episode did get you. You were totally...
Yeah.
You fell
Which
for
is
it.
weird because I had seen it before.
Yeah.
See, was there a legit, like, a, ooh, what moment?
No, it's just like, I was like, I have already solved the mystery.
Like, he did the
Batman's a dipshit.
He did the thing, like, in the middle of the show, he's like, hey, it's totally her. And I'm like...
That's
no
how you
shit.
know you're wrong.
Yeah. Oh, did you catch who voiced Mr. Toad?
No.
Udo Kier.
I forget what that...
He's a German monster movie man who voiced the owl from Mystery Incorporated.
Oh, you're right. I did recognize that voice. Yeah, I love that.
He was in what was it? Andy Warhol's Frankenstein and Andy Warhol's Dracula.
Yeah, Blood for Dracula.
Oh, those movies that I for some reason know about.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
Yes, it must be.
He was also in Justice League. I gotta look up who he was there.
This man.
Like, I feel like I wanted more origin for Pig and Toad. Because I was like, okay, so obviously Professor Pig, or whatever, is just, he's a dude in a pig mask. But Toad's actually a toad.
Toad's like a frog hopping around.
Yeah, I don't know,
Where did he
man.
come from?
All I know is like their whole weird environmentalist thing. I guess because they're aminal people.
Yeah, that was totally created for the show.
Yeah, I know that much. But I was just like, huh? If they needed a hyper shitty environmentalist terrorist villain, shit, Poison Ivy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can literally fill it all in. It's like, okay, Humpty Dumpty's...
Mad Hatter. They're both D-list pieces of shit.
He's like Mad Hatter and Riddler.
Riddler, yeah. Yeah, he did that fucking escape the room, emergent puzzle thing.
Yeah.
That's something Riddler would do.
He does have a scary face, though.
Yeah, the first shot of his face, he's like, he's like, oh no! Oh no!
Like the episode he was
Something's
in...
wrong.
That's not what his face is too small for his head!
Like, the first episode he was introduced was legitimately kind of creepy. Like, I will give it that. Like, that was a pretty good episode, and I was like...
And, like, the climax is just like, I just want to play with my toys and my numbers, and you took it away from me! I'm Badger from Breaking Bad! He was.
Yeah.
Udo Kier played Music Master in Justice League, and I don't remember who that was.
I don't fucking know.
Man, a lot of people were in that show.
Was that the character that, oh fuck, what's his name? Neil Patrick Harris played in Brave and the Bold?
No, that was invented for the show, and his name was the Music Meister.
Oh.
Music Master was seemingly also invented for Justice League.
Okay.
Probably, you can probably make a safe bet that like any musically themed character would be not originating in a non-sound format.
Yeah, that doesn't really work in Comic Goose.
That's true.
I think they put him in the Batman comics in some form or another, the Music Meister, and I'm just like, how?
Oh, and Babs just goes straight to being Oracle, which I think is actually very interesting.
I think so too, because I've always felt that Barbara, her work as Oracle was always more interesting and more, like, actually, like, unique and valuable than her work just as Batgirl. Not that I think she needed to get paralyzed,
that's
in the fridge.
That's the inherent problem with Oracle, is that her origin from Batgirl to Oracle is, like, super problematic. And, like, forget them. Alan Moore will be the first guy to tell you, like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. But, like, what she did as Oracle is very interesting. And I do like the idea that Barbara Gordon is just like, this is what I'm good at. I'm good at TV hacking.
I'm
which
good
is
at hacking, Dad.
God, Dad, why won't you let me hack this thing?
Yeah, and then she's, like, very skinny, so she might as well just do that.
Yeah, and she's, like, a teenager or whatever.
Yeah. Still Tara Strong, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, original Batgirl never made too much sense to me. Like, she just really liked Batman, so she made a costume and just started doing shit, and then Batman was like, whoa.
This is
You're
fine,
gonna do this. I guess I'm gonna train you or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Which is also the exact same origin as Carrie Kelly from Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, but Carrie Kelly's the only good thing about that comic book.
Yes, correct. Yeah, what's that motherfucker's name?
Oh,
he's a piece of shit. Frank Miller.
Miller.
Frank Miller, like, accidentally wrote a pretty interesting female character, which I bet he regrets.
Yeah.
Well, he did ruin her. He completely ruined her in the next one. That's
true.
Book that, like, everybody hates.
Yeah, he turned into, like, a cat
Into Chitara.
lady.
Gross.
But yeah, Barbara was pretty cool. Gordon was great. He was Commissioner Gordon. Like, there was nothing about him.
Yeah, and he was like, originally distrustful of Batman, and, like, he grows, like, you know what, this Batman guy's on the level.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon is almost always treated well. He's the perfect... For some reason, he's just the perfect Batman character.
Yeah, like, even in the Nolan movies, he was perfect.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's just... I guess it's just...
Part of it is
like,
because Gary Oldman was just so excited to not be a villain.
Yeah. He must just be really easy to get, because he's a good character. It's not as if he's, like, flat or anything. But, like, people always nail it.
Yeah.
He's multifaceted, I suppose.
And Harvey Dent was very different in this show as well. Instead of being, like, a dude who kind of loses his temper sometimes, he's just an asshole.
He's just a slime ball from the jump.
Which I actually thought was a nice, interesting interpretation, because... And, like, classic Batman, you know, he's, like, this golden boy politician, like, he's gonna change everything, he's gonna make the city right, and it's like, nowadays, politicians aren't good people. Maybe they never were.
Nah, they never
maybe
were.
people believe that they could be back then. Nowadays, nobody believes that a politician wants to be elected because they actually want to do something important or help anybody. Like, he's a real politician slimeball. Like, it's not a fantasy, like... You know.
Yeah, it's all personal gain.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with caring about people or anything. He just wants to do what he's doing, and he's an asshole about it, and he's selfish, and...
Yeah, which makes Harvey Dent interesting. I'm not sure how well that would have transitioned to Two-Face, because it's not like there's really a duality to highlight.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I really wonder where they wanted to go with him. Like,
after a while, I was just expecting him not to turn into Tufo. I was just expecting him to be Dent and be like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
I mean, I did feel he was more traditionally two-faced as Harvey than...
That's actually true, because, yeah, his public image versus his actual self.
Yeah, his public image was like, he's this great guy. His
I'm
actual
doing
self,
my best.
he was an asshole. Whereas old school Harvey Dent, he was a good guy, but sometimes he lost his temper and would punch somebody. Which isn't really what it means to be two-faced.
Yeah. Because the fact that he didn't have the coin, I'm like, oh, he's not even going to be Tufo.
Oh, yeah, he didn't get that coin. What are you doing? Come on.
I mean, I guess
Oh,
it's
don't
not
worry,
that
guys.
important.
That's season 2, though. Oh, you'll see.
I don't know.
And we never even got to see what his second face looked like, because he wore bandages the whole time. We just know that his one eye was fucked up. How do you guys feel about Metamorpho other than his design?
I've always liked Metamorpho.
Yeah, I have no problem with Metamorpho as a character. I mean, it's definitely a trope. Like, it's definitely a character type.
Yeah, but I think it was well executed.
Yeah.
And Adam Baldwin put in a good performance despite being a human shart. If you accidentally pooped your pants on the bus and that became a person, it would be Adam Baldwin.
Oh, man, yeah, but it was the whole, like, oh, no, I'm just a regular old Joe, but I got a girl, but now I'm stuck in all this superhero jazz. Oh, I might die. Like, there's a lot of them.
I guess we gotta go into Deathstroke now. This was an interesting take on Deathstroke. I haven't seen this Deathstroke before.
No,
First of all, he had two eyes, which is so weird. Neither didn't even notice until I pointed it out.
He lost it at the very end.
That's fine.
He did?
Yeah, you saw it got all busted up.
Oh yeah.
It's all
along
swollen.
with his brains.
Yeah, somehow his brains were okay, but they magicked his brains.
Yeah, that was also bad. That was also objectively bad, right?
Oh, that was the stupidest.
Okay,
They just okay, guys, we ran out of the budget for the season. We got to just finish this. Magic.
Two bad
Chemical magic.
moments. Two of my least favorite moments. That moment and the whole the episode where Batman goes to prison. Their justification for nobody just taking his fucking mask off. Or keeping him in a prison, like, arresting him in a prison, but, like, you don't know who this man is! And you're just gonna let him because his mask yelled at you?
It was really
that's
loud.
annoying. I don't feel like it. Let him go. Oh, alright.
I mean, this whole second arc was crazy with Deathstroke because Batman pulls the craziest fucking gambit, and he's pretty famous for those. I believe there's a trope called the Batman Gambit.
Probably.
But
It's also a
Either
shit.
that or a lot of crossover fanfiction.
Yep, I beat you to it this time, asshole.
Fuck!
But, like...
Tables have turned!
Like, at the end, they're like, okay, they magic Deathstroke problem away. And it's like, yay, everything's great, we're gonna be a family. And it's like, Batman, you're still a wanted criminal.
And Bruce is dead.
You facilitated that process by... The Batman in this show spent more time beating up cops than he did villains.
Well, that's alright.
Yeah. But we saw a couple of times, the way that this Batman works is that he sees a problem, and then he will throw everything he has into that problem. The thing with the key, by the way, great name, guys.
Well, it was a pre-existing.
I know. I'm not getting on these guys' case. He got himself arrested. He risked everything to take out this one guy. This is how this Batman operates. He puts everything into it because he sees one problem that's got to be done, and he'll do whatever it takes without looking at the big picture. And him being good at the big picture is what made him good in the Justice League. So this Batman is not cut out for that.
And also, Bruce Wayne, as far as the public is aware, is dead.
He's extremely dead.
He's like the deadest.
Because that's the thing. For the sake of this operation of taking out Deathstroke and getting rid of the SCU, he put so much of him into that it's irreversible. He can't get out of that shit.
Yeah, it's like he's not very. He doesn't plan ahead.
He has no self-preservation.
I kind of thought that the whole point of Batman that he was always like 5 steps ahead of everybody at all times. But this Batman, I guess, is not. he's very much like, here's how I'm gonna fix the problem. I don't care what the consequences are.
I feel like he's definitely supposed to be. I honestly, sometimes I really feel like the writing doesn't come off as smart as it tries to be sometimes. A lot of the detective work is really weird and rudimentary, and sometimes makes no sense. A lot of the solutions to problems are super, like, non sequitur, or just, like, something at the last minute.
All the solutions to Humpty Dumpty's, like, death house problems were dumb. They made no sense.
There's that bit where Ava, or whoever the fuck was staying at his house, and the ninjas just got in.
Yeah.
Where we had that earlier episode about how he had a impenetrable home defense system, which he implicitly made even stronger after the end of that episode. He's like,
Bruce,
well, if I can break it, it's not good enough.
Bruce,
and they just climbed up a window.
Bruce, you can't make 4 laser turrets that will automatically shoot whatever's in the sky above your home without even checking what that is. You've killed millions of birds.
You don't have a legal right to your own airspace, motherfucker.
Yeah, like, he very much rubs me as, like, this very sort of modern Batman, which is very problematic in a lot of ways because he's very above the law, is actively breaking crimes left and right, which has always kind of been part of Batman's deal, but, like...
Batman's only real crimes are...
breaking and entering,
breaking and entering, just... making every shred of evidence the police find inadmissible in court because he fucks it up. Because he needs
resisting arrests and assaulting officers.
Yeah.
But he usually doesn't assault officers.
Yeah, he doesn't assault officers unless a fucking officer steps.
Threw a bomb at a police helicopter and blew up the tail propeller so that thing was spiraling out of control, and I'm like... those are innocent people doing their jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this because and I think this all comes with like the tonal whiplash I kept feeling, because it's like some stuff comes off as like more cartoony and more of like this is like a children's action show, so like you don't think about that shit. But then whenever it wasn't doing that, it was very much trying to ground itself in a very real, gritty, noir detective stuff, and it's like you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, it's like I can forgive some inconsistencies of like certain stuff where it's like, okay,
certain stuff is like, well, they need to have the plot happen.
They need to have the plot happen.
That's just television. That's just narrative.
You know, somebody's punched in the head 5 times, they get up later. Okay, whatever.
The fact that Batman has never accidentally killed anybody just by punching him too hard. Like, people die in boxing matches pretty commonly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I can forgive the fact that people can survive a lot more damage in this universe than
totally.
Average person, until it becomes confusing, like with what later happened with Katana.
Yeah, they don't keep it consistent. They think this is some Tom and Jerry shit we're on.
Yeah, so it's just like, I don't know. It's a little much.
Yeah, cause you know, it was really going for some kind of like middle ground between like TAS and like Brave and the Bold. Cause like Brave and the Bold, they do whatever the fuck they want. They don't care. It's Silver Age goofiness. Batman goes up into space and all he's got is a fucking fishbowl in his head. And then the animated series, it's like, oh hey kids, here's a real gun.
Here's a real gun, and here's the weight of that gun.
Yeah.
And what it can do.
Yeah, that was another great bit from Justice League where he got possessed and shot a gun, and then he got back and he's like, oh god, fuck! Like there was a big old bug on his hand. Which would be like me if like... What animal would you guys least like to be touched by? For me? Horseshoe crab.
Aw, no, they're my friends.
I like them. I like the top parts. I hate the bottom parts.
Oh, man.
Or what are those like giant-ass bugs like the... Like ichthyopods or whatever?
Yeah!
Giant centipedes or millipedes or whatever. I wouldn't want to be touched by those guys.
Anything Junji Ito's drawn.
Yeah. But speaking of Batman with guns, the fake Batman was hilarious. Like, he bursts out of a hearse with a fucking, like rocket
with a heavy machine gun.
with a heavy machine gun, just
but
here's Johnny, and just starts shooting it. Like what the fuck?
And actually, I'm Batman was only said twice, and one of them was by him.
Yeah,
that's really great.
Like Batman with guns is weird, even in this show.
You know what was whack is they teased Jericho, and he never happened.
Oh, that's
kind of
a little bit.
It's confusing. Okay,
they might not have even. That might have been an accident.
Yeah, that's the thing, because
they got the name wrong.
Well, it's not the same name for one thing.
Well,
yeah, and we don't even know if that was just a story that Slade made up. Like, we don't know if this universe Slade actually ever got married and had kids. That might just be a thing that he made up. That just happened to be maybe a shout-out to the actual Slade Wilson's origin from the comics.
Yeah, but the thing is, Jericho's real name is Joseph. He mentioned his son Glenn, and...
Whose son's name is Glenn?
It was like, my son Glenn is a huge fan of yours. My son Glenn. Murakami.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about Deathstroke.
Has Jericho ever been in a show?
He was in Teen Titans very briefly.
Okay. He cameoed, and then he
was in Calling All
Slade's.
Titans. Yeah.
He wasn't Slade's kid.
And then he was in Arrow.
Yeah. Was he?
I don't know. I don't
Who
watch
gives a shit? That's not a cartoon.
I know a lot of people like that show.
I'm sure it's good for what it is, but I can't get... Listen, like... I was kind of in a mood to like...
But Nikki, there's hunky boys and they're sad.
I like their interpretation of the Flash from what I saw.
Yeah, I'm sure it's good for what it is, but like I have enough trouble getting into Cape cartoons right now or Cape anything. I'm not going to watch a Cape live action show.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
on with a CW budget. Jericho was part of something called the Wildebeest Society.
Dude, don't go there.
All right.
I'll tell you about it later.
Yeah, so Deathstroke, they I mean, you've read more Teen Titans than I have to say any. They like completely reinvented his origin in this.
More or less, yeah. I mean, he's a mercenary.
Couldn't they have just used Deadshot?
They could have used Deadshot. Deadshot's another mercenary.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes Deathstroke particular and what I guess they did kind of capture was that once he's like hired to kill a target, he doesn't care if the person who hired him doesn't matter or if they're dead or whatever. He will terminate the target.
I feel like Deadshot would be the same way though.
I mean, Deadshot's really just after money.
Yeah, Deadshot's in it for the money, which I can respect. He's on
Whereas
that hustle.
Slade's in it for the sport.
Yeah, that's true. He's on that whatever that guy's name was from the Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah, I was just gonna say some Most Dangerous Game shit because I'm not gonna remember anybody's name in that. There was like 3 characters.
Yeah, you figure it wouldn't be that hard. It's like Colonel Zaroff.
Wow, good pull.
It was also published as The Hounds of Zaroff. I'm looking at Wikipedia. Don't fucking act like it. I've read it. I mean,
yeah,
and I've seen that Saturday morning breakfast cereal comic.
Yeah, but so like he's got the same costume. It's a good costume. He's a mercenary, whatever.
They really should have just started calling him exclusively Slade after Teen Titans because it's just objectively the best name for him.
Yeah. And if they needed to update him again, it would be Slade but with a hashtag in front of it, and he'd be like an Instagram boy.
Oh my god.
That's a teen thing.
But like
I'll follow Slade on Instagram.
Me too. And they tied him to this new version of Alfred, which I mean I guess was like, okay, I mean they're doing a new Alfred, they might as well take advantage of the fact they're doing a new Alfred to do new things with other characters.
Yeah, I liked how he got in deep with Bruce Wayne and like learned how he fights like by like friendly sparring.
Yeah.
I was expecting those two fuckers to kiss.
Oh, my boyfriend. And he definitely played a pretty confusing game. Like, at that point in the show, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it was a crazy thing. Like, the fights they were doing pretty good. Like, I like Deathstroke.
I feel like they sacrificed... They focused a lot on the twist and sort of sacrificed character motivation.
Yeah.
For the sake of the twist. Because at the end, I was sort of like, I need more from this guy to understand why he's so fucking crazy and why, like, he hates Batman so much like, I get that, you know...
Well, it's a daddy issues thing.
It's a daddy issue thing.
I want Alfred to be my dad. No, Alfred's my dad. Alfred's my dad.
And nobody respects
And then even,
it.
like, his son's like, I want to be my dad, too. Nobody fucking asked me.
You guys are a bunch of assholes. Let me save this city. Yeah.
Thanks for finally letting me have a costume that doesn't completely suck or is racist.
Yeah, but then she didn't... Her costume was just her civvies.
It was kind of nothing, but at least it wasn't racist.
Like, I don't understand why they couldn't give her a different outfit to wear when she's not in costume.
Yeah.
Because she's also Bruce Wayne's bodyguard, so, like...
Yeah.
It's just a domino mask.
Yeah.
She doesn't mask her voice at all.
Yeah, no. She doesn't even she doesn't alter her voice or even personality. She's the exact same character. I'm trying to think if she's, like, spoken to anybody as the two separate alter egos and that person somehow doesn't know they're the same lady.
Probably Gordon.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, Gordon.
Maybe that's like her ace in the hole. If anybody ever comes at her with that, she can just go like, "Oh, what? So all Asian women sound alike to you?"
Yeah, she would say that. I love her. She was delightful, and it would just make me hate Batman more because he treated her like a little baby, and I'm like, she is an adult woman. She is a grown ass adult. Talk to her like she's an adult.
But speaking of her and also stuff that they could have written better, her romance.
Oh yeah, he just died.
With
right?
Matt Lillard.
Yeah.
With weird sciencey boy.
With that barely dumb leave, go away. that relationship only happened because the writers needed it to happen.
I love how after they released all the souls from the sword, they didn't mention him or Bethany at all.
Yeah.
Like, there was no indication about what happened to them. It was just like, oh, it's my dad.
Yep, that's it.
I think that's good for this show. I think there's definitely stuff to enjoy, but it's far from the best Batman you'll ever see. But it does do some stuff that you won't see in any other cartoons.
If you want to see Batman with sexy, kissy lips...
Okay, that's the other thing. There was a comic by Short Pact that came out. It was called False Equivalency. It made the rounds, talking about, like, the idea that, like, fuckboys say that male comic book characters are objectified too because they're, like, super sexy men. It's like, no, it's a male power fantasy. If like Batman was meant to appeal to me, a straight woman, he would be like a lot sleeker. We could see his eyes. He'd have kissy lips. And then she draws something that turned out to basically predict what he looks like in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they did a follow-up where it's like, oh, I made this.
Yeah.
Like, that was the most interesting thing to me when I first saw the show was, like, all the emoting is in his mouth. They almost, like, focus the camera on his mouth as opposed to his eyes.
I mean,
I guess interesting choice.
I guess that makes sense when he's in the Batman costume because his mouth is the only, like, part of him that you see that isn't hidden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just he just has mouth and
the white eyes because it's superhero
and squints.
rules.
I mean, I had no problem with that.
The white eyes are so much more expressive than giving him real eyes. That has never looked good. That has always looked like dog shit.
I was fine with kissy lips Batman.
Yeah, I had no problem with the design.
I liked how sleek he looked. And he still kind of had his bat undies. You could kind of tell when the lighting was a certain way.
He looked sleeker than most other Batmobiles. More than his own Batmobile. His own Batmobile was like a fucking like a cool like a race car type deal.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't a fucking tank.
Yeah. I liked how sassy his computer was.
Yeah, honestly though, that was the other thing that pissed me off. Like, I would have loved that computer in a more tonally accurate show. Like, no, like, you're solving a murder crime. You can't have fucking Dexter's computer sassing you. What?
It's a computer. Give me the less known address of Humpty Dumpty. A wall. Let me rephrase.
Dang.
Humphrey Dumpler is on those lists of, like, the worst superhero name. It's Harleen Quinzel is also shit. Here's the thing. Harley Quinn is a name that some people actually have. Harleen Quinzel is not.
Yeah, no, I'm trying.
The worst is Black Bolt. His name is Blackagar Boltagon. Which is...
Welp.
That's the worst one.
They never explain why Humpty was Eggman. Why is he egg-shaped?
They don't really they don't really do that with a lot of the more physically out there characters. Like they never explain. They're just like Killer Croc. Oh, his skin's super leather and he's got sharp teeth. That's it.
He was bitten by a radioactive crocodile
during the full moon out on the bayou.
I can usually do a better Stanley. The bayous of New Jersey.
The uncharted wilderness of Red
the final frontier, New Jersey.
They warned him, no one's ever come back alive.
That's my favorite thing to make fun of about Stanley is that his world is New York, and that's it. He's like, I remember that an interview with him was like, I wanted, in DC, all the superheroes were in made-up cities like Metropolis or Gotham. I wanted it to take place in the real world so kids could relate to it. What about kids who don't live in New York City? I don't understand the question.